I'm here with Hedy Caplan, Director of European Engagement at Mindful Life, Mindful Work. Welcome, Hedy.
Hi, thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
We're here today to talk about Hedy's work with leaders, teams, and organizations. But first, let's hear a bit about her career trajectory and how it influences her work at Mindful Life, Mindful Work.
I started my career in publishing in New York City, and in those days I had a special focus to my job, which was to work with experts who were not writers and get books out of them. In other words, have these experts translate their knowledge and skill and experience and wisdom into written form and book form. That subsequently made a lot of sense to me when later I had the opportunity, once I had moved to Europe in the 1980s. I met with John Whitmore. John Whitmore was a Formula One champion, Olympic coach as well, who was among the first to bring coaching from the world of professional sports into organizations. And I worked with John and his team of Olympic coaches in the beginning days of coaching, and learned how to detect potential, how to develop potential, and how to support individuals and teams in high performance with competition, stress, pressure, challenges, and the opportunity for growth and development of skill, talent, and potential. From there, I moved into different ways of working as a coach. I brought John's organization into France with a partner, worked in a small operation for a while, always delivering coaching, at least in those days, to C-suite executives, for those were the target market in the early days of coaching. I then moved into an HR consulting firm in the role of practice director, and I ran a team of coaches, roughly 300 coaches in 10 different countries, at a stage when coaching was beginning to become a little bit more democratic, and we were looking for alternative services that we could offer that would both be less expensive for organizations and could embrace a greater public. And that led me to discover different services, one of which I'm going to share with you today, and I'm excited to share with you today.
Wow, that's very interesting, Hedy. I'd now like to focus on that service and hear a little bit more about this thing you call co-development groups. What exactly are co-development groups?
Co-development groups are a way to bring together peers of the same hierarchical level in what we call a circle of resources where they share their experience, their skill, their perspectives, their knowledge of the organizations, and basically work as a diverse group to service the challenges, needs, and objectives of each of the individual members. It's a client service process where instead of solving your own problems, when you work with a coach, the coach makes you solve your problems. The coach doesn't help you solve your problems. He supports you in helping you solve your problem and rise to your challenges. In co-development, for the first time, you can bring your difficulties and your questions and your challenges to the group and turn it over to a group of peers who come from different professions, teams, divisions, geographic locations, horizons of all sorts. And they work your problems from their perspectives, bringing their knowledge and skills and resources to give you different ways to approach a challenge or a difficulty so that you're actually resourced by the perspective of 8 to 10 different individuals in the same organization. It's a process that was developed in the 1990s by two Canadians and became very, very, very popular in France. There is that relationship between French-speaking Canada and France, and co-development has become one of the most widely requested services in organizations, because instead of relying on the expertise of an outside consultant, what we do when we come into organizations is we train groups to develop what we call collective intelligence. Collective intelligence involves bringing together individuals in the service of different ambitions, objectives, and aspirations so that they learn to self regulate, develop trust, build confidence among peers, share all of their wisdom, knowledge, and resources, not in a consulting way, but in the way that helps people define not only what the problem is, but what their need is, learn to formulate a need, and build the trust to be vulnerable with that need and hand it over to a group of peers. What's really wonderful about co-development is what happens in the organization. What I've seen in numerous occasions and almost without fail is that it builds these communities of solidarity, support. It's a stronger relationship than a network relationship because people come together to solve each other's problems. All of that in service to the ambitions of the organization. So what we find happens is that a given individual will suddenly understand the organization from multiple perspectives and different angles, different divisions, segments, geographic locations. So it gives them a much broader awareness of how the organization operates, what its challenges and opportunities are, and builds, as I say, these communities of practice and resource that last way beyond the co-development group itself. It's also something, and I think this is what I think is exciting. For me, what I'm looking for today are services that we can hand over to organizations. It's hard to hand over coaching. It requires a lot of study, a lot of self-development, a lot of practice. But we can hand over co-development to human resource professionals and they can run the groups inside the organizations. And I think that's what's really exciting is we can teach you to run your own groups and bring out all of the benefit of these communities of practice, of these collaborative, modalities that enhance engagement, commitment, accountability, so many things, so many things.
How have you used these groups to help Mindful Life, Mindful Work develop internally?
One of my one of my desires with Mindful Life, Mindful Work was cross fertilization. And what I wanted to do was to bring things that we do here in France as development consultants and coaches and make it available to my group in Mindful Life, Mindful Work. And what we discovered was that it really helped us to pull together as a team to embrace all of the challenges and I think the aspirations, the ambitions we all have for Mindful Life, Mindful Work, and to learn to communicate in such a way that we could work together more effectively, build closer alliances, create deeper relationships, and really feel like we're a part of a team.
What's on the horizon for your work at Mindful Life, Mindful Work?
I'd like to continue in that vein. I think that what's so enriching is how I can bring to my American peers in Mindful Life, Mindful Work the practices that are effective and exciting that we use here in France and in Europe. And I can be enriched by the services and practices that are used in the United States. And I think ultimately what I'm hoping to do and what I'm looking forward to doing is actually working together to develop new services based on this global understanding of the challenges and the opportunities for organizations today.
It's been really great talking with you, Hedy. Thank you for sharing a bit about your work.
I've enjoyed myself. Thank you very much.
If you're interested in learning more about Hedy's work at Mindful Life, Mindful Work, you can do so by visiting www.mindfullifemindfulwork.com.